Okay, on this lesson we're going to look at distributive property. And it's pretty easy to do as long as you remember whatever's in the parenthesis, every term has to be multiplied by whatever the multiplier is on the outside of the parenthesis, the other factor. And historically we've looked at distributive property and we'd have something like 3 times the quantity, 2 plus 4. And order of operations tells us to go ahead and add that 2 plus 4. So we would have 3 times 6 and we could get 18. And that would be easy for us to do. And that's what you should do if you have like terms. But I'm going to go ahead and just use this as an example. If I got a chick and a dog and it's inside the parenthesis, and it's almost like you could say that they're inside a little basket, okay? If we had one little chick and one little dog inside a basket, and then I said, oh, gee, you know what, I think I'd like 3 times whatever's in the basket. Then you'd have to say, well, I'd have to have 3 times the chick, which would give me 3 of the chicks, okay? So we would have 3 times the chicks, and let me go ahead and get a picture of that so that I can. We've got our chick and we've got our dog floating around somewhere. And I'm going to take my little dog and I'm going to flip it around. And so we've got our chick and our dog. So if I said that I needed 3 times that, well then all of a sudden, how many chicks would I have? I would have 3 chicks. Now I wouldn't say that I have 3 chicks and 1 dog. No, I'd have 3 chicks plus, I'd have to say I've got 3 times the amount of dogs. So now I would say I would have 3 chicks, and I would also have to have 3 dogs. And notice, I cannot combine the chicks with the dogs because they are not like terms. So the answer would simply be, if I have 3 times whatever's in the parenthesis, I would have to apply that 3 multiplier to every term inside of my parentheses. So I would have to look at the chicks and I would have to look at the dogs and I would have to multiply them each by 3. Now if you can look at that with regard to letters instead of animals or calculators or pens, I'm going to take a look at this. We have V plus 4 and we want to multiply it by 4. Again, I look and I see I've got 2 terms. I've got a V and I've got a 4. Just like I had chicks and dogs, I have to apply that multiplier because that's the only thing that fits between the parenthesis and the 4. So I'm going to go ahead and say I need to say 4 times V, so I could have 4 times V, keep my sign of operation, and then I'd have to apply that 4 multiplier to my constant, and I would have 4 times 4. Order of operations tells us to do the multiplication first. 4 times V would give us simply 4V, and I would be adding to it 4 times 4, which would be 16. 4V and 16 are not like terms. I could not combine them. Your best answer now is just going to be 4V plus 16. Now let's take a look at our last example, where now we have a multiplier, the 10, and we have to multiply it by 2/5. We have our sign of operation is subtraction, and now it's 2U. So inside my parenthesis right now, I have 2 terms. I have 2/5 and I have 2U. Terms are separated by addition and subtraction signs. I have 2 terms there. I would have to apply the multiplier, the 10, by both terms. So I've got the 2/5 and I've got 2U. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to have to multiply 10 and I will multiply it by 2/5. You could do that in your junk column over here. And so taking a look, I would have 10 over 1, because I'm multiplying by a fraction, times 2/5. We look to simplify before we multiply, looking at a numerator number and a denominator number that would share a common factor. Here we can see that we've got a 10 and a 5. We ask ourselves, what is the common factor? It's 5. As you cross this off, you would say 10 divided by 5 would be 2. 5 divided by 5 would be 1. We multiply across. 2 times 2 would give us 4. 1 times 1 would give us 1. So we would have 4 over 1, which simplifies to 4. So now we know the product of 10 multiplied by 2/5 would give us 4. We would keep our sign of operation, which is subtraction, and then we would multiply 10 times 2u, which is the same as saying 10 times 2 times u. 10 times 2 would give us 20. 20 times u would give us our u. Our answer would be 4 minus 20u. We look and we have two terms. Terms are separated by addition and subtraction signs. They do not have the same last name. We have 4, which is a constant. It has no variable. We are subtracting 20u. 20 is the coefficient. U is the variable. That would be our answer. 4 minus 20u. And that is it.